Thing number 4, we're moving on to Las Vegas Sands, ticker LVS. They just recently bought more Sands China, 1928.HK. The market is discounting the recovery despite visitation levels above 2019 levels that we talked about. I believe it was last week or the week prior.
Yeah.
Gary, thing number 4, Las Vegas Sands makes a telling move.
Well, Rob, as someone who I own Las Vegas Sands stock, the reason I own it is they're a fantastic operator. They own half the market in Singapore and are building there, and that asset is performing at all-time record highs, even, well, much better than pre-COVID levels. We've also been betting on a recovery in Macau, and we've now gotten that. August visitation in Macau was higher than the 2019 levels. So, Macau is now seeing more visitors than they were seeing pre-COVID. And so, I'm taking a look at this thinking, wait a minute, the stock is acting like there's a gigantic unsolvable problem, but what we really have here is a very full recovery. And the reason the stock has traded so poorly this year is because of fears related to the Chinese economy. Now, in fairness, the people who are worried about that, that's a legitimate fear to have. The Chinese economy is not doing great right now, and there's a reason people are nervous about it. With that said, Macau was shut down or largely shut down for years. China was locked down for another year or two beyond the US. These lockdowns lasted way too long, and people have pent up bankroll. They haven't been able to gamble. They really love to. And what they want to do is go back to the casinos and enjoy themselves. And that's what they're starting to do. So what we're seeing is evidence of a robust recovery, but the stock is trading like there's some gigantic long-term problem related to the Chinese economy. Now, Sands China stock, which owns about 30% of Las Vegas Sands Macau assets, has fallen from almost 25 in February down to below 15 now. That drop is more than 40%. It has been a huge problem. And, management responded last week by buying $103 million in Sands China. I'm going to point out to you that management has inside information. These guys see the daily returns. They know how many people are gambling in their casinos. They know how many bets are being made. They know whether the average bet size is increasing or decreasing. They know the room rates and all their hotels, the occupancy. I mean, it's forget the intra-quarter information. These guys get daily information on it. So with that inside information, they went and just threw 9 figures at buying more of those assets that are performing well on a fundamental basis, but performing poorly in the stock market.
Yeah, and Gary, earlier this year, LVS bought back a large amount of its own stock, as well as the repurchase of the larger stake in Sands China. They returned over $1 billion to shareholders, increased ownership of the Macau assets like we're talking about. And then we have this information about buying back another $103 million. I think those are all the pieces that you're looking at and why you're making a bullish case for this stock.
Yeah, Rob, I think that's a really good description. Sands Management has returned, I want to say something like $1.2 billion to shareholders this year. That's a remarkable number. And, here's what they have going on right now. At the moment, they are in construction of a new 4th tower and concert venue in Singapore. They're both building and renovating in Macau, increasing their assets and improving their assets there. They're actively pursuing a new development in the New York City area that would be extremely expensive. This is a company, and when they restarted the dividend, these guys have plenty to do with their cash. And the fact that they devote another $100 million plus to buying more of the Macau assets that they already own, and again, where they see the daily information on, visitation and gambling and what's being spent at the tables, I think that's an indication that they believe the market is misunderstanding and undervaluing the recovery.
Great stuff, Gary, on Las Vegas Sands. As we mentioned, LVS, DKI portfolio stock, and one that Gary keeps a keen eye on. And any new developments, we'll be sure to pass those through to all of our listeners and subscribers.